בעבור Shmoi HaGadol, ki hu kel zon u'mefarnes lakel. Or ki hu zon, we'll talk about that next time. But I challenge everybody to think for a second. You've been benching for so many years. You've been saying, Tamid lo chosar lanu, va'al yechsar lanu mazayin lo'olam v'ed, ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol, right? Ki hu kel zon u'mefarnes lakel. Did you ever stop and think once, where does ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol go? Does ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol, is it the end of the previous sentence? Or is it the beginning of the next sentence? Is it, like we spoke about in the past benching bite, that we ask Hashem that we should not be lacking any mazon forever for the sake of His great name? Or do we say, we ask Hashem we shouldn't be lacking any food, and then we say, for the sake of your great name, because you're the one who is on mefarnes lakel. So it's an excellent question that so many people never thought about. So stop 1 second and think, when you bench, how have you said it? So I'll tell you right now that if you look around, the term Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol is only used one time in all of Tanakh. And that is in Shmuel Aleph Perek Yud Beis Pasuk Chaf Aleph Chaf Beis. There Shmuel is talking to the nation. He's telling them not to be afraid. And then in Pasuk of Beis it says, Ki lo yitosh Hashem esamai. Hashem is not going to forsake His nation. Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol asnachta, because of His name. And that's how Rashi explains it. That the Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol is the end of it. And then it says, Ki ho'el Hashem lasis eschem le'olam, because Hashem made you for a nation. But the Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol has the asnachta. It seems like it's going on before. There's one time else in Tefillah where we find Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol. It's a Masechta Seifrim. It's a Tefillah that most of us don't say. It's when the Sefer Torah is getting taken out. And there it says, very similar to my benching. He should do with us. Once again, over there we see that in Tefillah, the Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol was the end of the previous sentence. And that's how Chazal seem to have used it. And that's how the Rekeach and other Rishonim seem to have learned. If you look inside in the Rekeach, there was a Rishon, when he explains benching, he says, La'olam va'ed Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol, Hashem Rachaman. And then he says, Ki hu zon, is the next sentence, Kizon Mezainis. He's mashma that he puts it together with the previous by La'olam va'ed Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol, as it seems like it is in Nach, and as it seems like it's in the Masechta Seifrim and other places. And that's how some seem to learn. And if you take a look in some Sidurim, it puts the Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol and then a period. However, not everyone learns like that. However, if you look in some Sidurim, you'll see it will say, Tamid lo chasar lanu, v'al yechsar lanu mazayin la'olam va'ed, period, Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol, as the new sentence. And if you look in the Siddur HaMaharal that came out from a Yid in Eretz Yisrael who was malakit, he gathered together different things from all over the Maharal, when he talks about things in the Siddur. So he says, Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol, he says, "But that Hashem is mefarnes everybody, and He's mekayim the world. Why? Because that would give Him His great name. Because without people, who is there to realize the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu?" And then it says, "L'kach Amar." The Maharal says, and that's why we say, "Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol ki hu zon." So that's mashma that that implies it's the beginning of the next sentence. Amar Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol, for the sake of His great name, because He feeds everybody. Now we can ask that very simply, why do you need the word ki? Because if Ba'avor Shmoi HaGadol is the beginning of the sentence, because of His great name, hu zon u'mefarnes lakel, He feeds everybody. So that's an excellent question, but that's how the Maharal learns it. And if you look into Aruch HaShulchan as well, when he talks about in Siman Kuf Pei Zayin, where he discusses benching and how to pronounce the words, So he also puts together Ba'avur Shmoi in the Kuf Pei Zayin. He puts Ba'avur Shmoi HaGadol Ki Hu Keil Zon Umefarnes as one sentence. So v'chulu. That's how he writes it. So once again, the Aruch HaShulchan and the Maral seem to put Ba'avur Shmoi HaGadol as the beginning of the next sentence, to which we can ask why the need for the word ki. The Rekeach, we understand why you need the word ki, because it's a new sentence. Ki hu kel zon u'mefarnes lakol. That's why we're asking Hashem to feed us, because He's the one who feeds us, and He's the one who makes sure we have food. But Ba'avur Shmoi HaGadol seems to be going on the previous sentence. So whichever way you thought till now, there are some who say it that way, but understand what you're saying when we bench.